What's good, everybody? It is your boy Tony Teton West back at it again with another episode of Cam and T podcast with my co-host Cam. Cam, brother, how you doing today, man? How you feeling?
Chilling, bro. Chilling. How you doing?
I'm
Everything
doing
good?
good. Yeah, man, I'm doing good. I can't complain, bro. I can't complain, man. Doing pretty good. Just trying to get through these summer months, man.
Yeah.
Like especially like that week after like summer league, kind of like summer leagues in and now. Y'all know me, my life kind of revolves around sports. I love sports. So right now it's
Yeah.
kind of like dead, you know what I'm
Slow.
saying? We just
Yeah.
talking about that. And it's so hot outside too on top of that. So it's just
Mm-hmm.
like, man, it's just dreadful right now. I hate the summer. I know this is off subject and we'll get into everything we're talking about to the podcast. I actually hate summer. Now that I'm
Yeah.
older, I think summer is the worst.
Yeah.
Like I think it's the worst season of all seasons because you're no longer a kid anymore. So you're not, and I'm not a teacher, so I'm not out for 8 weeks or whatever the case
Yeah.
may be. I'm still going to work every single day. So I
Yeah.
think it just this is just my own little rant. I just think summer sucks, bro. Like
Yeah.
it stinks. It's 99 degrees outside. It feels like 105 in the south because of the humidity here. It just
Mm-hmm.
sucks, bro. Like the summer
Yeah.
really sucks. I think
It,
fall is the best, what I'm saying, season. And
yep.
maybe we'll draft that or something like that at some point,
Yeah.
draft
One
months or
day.
something like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, I just hate, I absolutely hate like the fall, bro. I
Yeah.
mean the summer. I
I
hate.
I agree. I agree, man. I think because like you said, we older now, so we out of school, so it's like we
Right.
ain't got no break. It's like we
Right.
just kind of going all the way through it, and it's like on the weekends in the summer. You know what I mean? Ain't no football on, ain't no basketball on.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So
Exactly,
it's how
bro.
to basically you got to get out the house if you want to do something. Whatever you want to
Exactly,
do,
bro.
I mean, it's hot, so it's I agree, man. I agree. Summer is it ain't what it used to be. I tell you that. It
No,
ain't
it's
what it used to
definitely
be.
not, man.
Yeah,
It's not fun, bro, at
yeah,
all.
for sure.
So that's just how I feel about it. But yeah, man,
Yeah,
let's go ahead and jump into what we got to talk about today, man. This is episode 3. Y'all get active in the live chats. I already see my boy AB getting active in the live chats as well. Um, but yeah, man, we definitely gotta do some collaboration episodes.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
no
for
doubt,
sure. We definitely gonna make that happen. But
no
yeah,
doubt.
man, let's go ahead and kind of jump into what we talking about today, man. We're gonna talk about, you know, we're gonna talk about, Brian Burns, Carolina. We're gonna have a lot of Carolina Panthers talk today. I'm not gonna lie. We're
Yeah,
gonna talk about Brian Burns. He's been offered a contract. We're gonna talk about that whole situation. Can the Panthers give him a contract? Should they give him a contract? We'll talk about that a little bit. We'll talk about Jaycee Horn. Where does he rank in the top, top 10, top 15 in cornerbacks in the league? We'll talk about that a little bit, talk about some of his injury history, stuff like that. We also gonna talk about college football, man. We're like 2 weeks away from when teams start reporting to fall camp. So we getting
mm,
real close, man. We getting real close to there being some action. But we'll talk about that as well. Who do we think are some of the top teams coming into this year? We'll probably give a lot of talk about Clemson, a lot about the ACC. We'll talk about that. And then at the end, we will do our fantasy draft. Who are the best franchises in all of sports of all time?
yep,
And last week, let me go ahead and get my bragging rights in now. Last week, I won the best city draft by a landslide.
yeah,
It was a landslide. So I won the best city draft, so I'll get the first pick, and then we'll go like that. But yeah, that's kind of how the show is going to go today. So let's go ahead and jump into the Brian Burns situation. So
mm,
Brian Burns has been with the Panthers now his whole career. I think he's going into his 5th year at this point.
yeah.
Um,
I think so.
Brian Burns is, I personally think he's a top 10 edge rusher in the
Mm,
league. And now he's up to get paid. You know what I'm saying? He's up to get his bag, and it's his time. Brian Burns was drafted, I think, 16th overall by the Carolina Panthers, which now it looks like a steal at this point.
mm-hmm.
Because I definitely think he's exceeded that 16th overall pick. And yeah, I mean, at this point, Brian Burns, I think that's the draft that Clelin Ferrell went number 4 in. So he definitely probably should have went over, you know what I'm saying? Clelin Ferrell should have been later in the draft. And obviously, Brian Burns probably should have been the pick for the Raiders, if we're going to be
Yeah,
honest at this point. But yeah, Brian Burns up for a contract, man. Now we all know last year the Panthers were offered potentially 3 first-rounders by the Rams. We
Yeah.
know Rams have that whole motto, F them picks. We don't care. We want to get the best of the best. And, they had an opportunity for that. And really, they didn't pull the trigger, which tells you they believe in Brian Burns. They think that he's a vital part of what Carolina is building on that young defense.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's time to get paid. And I guess I'll give my opinion on this first. I think Brian Burns is a top five, top 7 edge rusher in the game. I'll
Yeah.
say top 7, 8, somewhere in that ballpark.
Mm.
I think Brian Burns needs to do a little better about making sacks. I think we've all kind of lamented that. But as far as disrupting and causing disruption, he's one of the best in the league at that. Now, like I just said, he has to finish. That's Brian Burns' biggest issue. But I think Brian Burns could potentially one day be a top 5 edge rusher. If he's only 24, 25, I think you go ahead and invest that into an edge rusher who I think edge rusher is the second or third most important position in football right now because
Mm-hmm.
everybody's passing the ball. So in my opinion, I think Brian Burns has the potential to be a top 5 edge rusher in this league one day. I don't think he's there yet, but I think he's very close to getting there. So I guess my question for you is, what do you think the Panthers should do? Because I think for me, it's a no-brainer. I think you
Yeah.
have to sign him. I don't think you have a choice.
Yeah. They don't have a choice. I mean, they turned down at least 2 first-round picks, possibly 3,
Yep.
for Burns. So I think you have to pay him. That you
Yep.
got to give him. Honestly, I think you have to give him a big contract too.
Yep.
I don't know if he was gonna. I don't know if he's gonna be the highest paid edge rusher in the league, but you have to give him a contract, especially since, if I'm not mistaken, he made the Pro Bowl the last 2 seasons,
Yep.
if
He
I'm
did.
correct.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's increased his sack total every year. He's getting better. Like you said, he does need to finish. I think a lot of Panthers fans, I think we noticed that. He's very flashy. He has that elite spin move, right? He's really good at getting to the quarterback, but really he needs to, be able to bring them down. But at the same time, the Panthers have nobody else on the roster that can do what he can, and
Right.
so you need somebody like Brian Burns. You got to lock him down for the future. Give him a big contract, 4 or 5 years. You know what I'm saying? I think, looking at the money, I mean, TJ Watt making 28 mil a year, Joey Bosa making 27 a year, Miles Garrett making 25 a year, Khalil Mack 23 and a half, Max Crosby 23 and a half. He got to be somewhere around there with those 2 guys.
Yeah.
Bradley Chubb is around 22 mil. I think you probably give Brian Burns 24 mil a year. That should
Yeah.
be the offer that they
I,
gave him.
I agree.
Because I don't think he's better than Garrett, Bosa, or Watt, and the numbers will show that he's not better than those guys, but he's comparable. You know what I mean? I think he's the closest thing we have to that. So you got to give him at least 24 a year. And looking at a lot of the names under him, Von Miller, Cam Jordan, Harold Landry, Shaq Barrett, Chandler Jones, those are older guys. You know what I'm saying? And so
And I
Brian's
mean,
gonna
right
want
now, he's probably better than pretty
most
much
of them.
everybody on that list. Yeah, I was about to
For
say.
sure. And so I think Burns, man, you got to give him a big old contract. And I'm expecting big things from him this year. He switched his number from 53 to 0, which is pretty exciting, I would say. Um I just think, when with the talent that's on the team, I think Burns really is a pivotal point of that. You can ask Coach Frank Wright. He talked about it during his introductory press conference. He's been an offensive minded guy his whole career, but one
Right.
thing that he keeps hammering down is that it starts with the defense, right?
Right.
And Brian Burns is our best defensive player, probably the best player on the team, if we being completely honest. And so,
Yeah, I think at this point, yeah, he probably is.
yeah, and so you need to lock him down. He's a budding superstar, I would say, in this league. He's getting to that point to where everybody's starting to notice him, and absolutely lock him down for the future, and make him, a pivotal point in the franchise.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%, man. I think, for me, like you said, they don't have anybody at
Hmm.
edge that's even remotely close to him on the
No,
roster right now.
no,
Gross Matos is nowhere near him.
no.
Marquise Haynes is nowhere near him. You know, a lot of these guys are just nowhere near the player that Brian Burns is. So in that case, you have to pay him. He
Right.
has to get paid. It's
Right.
one of the more important positions in the NFL. Brian Burns, I just said, I think he's a potential top 5 edge rusher. Not now,
Yeah.
but I think he can get there. You have
Yeah.
to pay that guy whatever. And you already turned down 3 first-round picks for him, and he
Yeah.
knows that. So his agent is playing with house money because he's like, I know you're going to at least give me 24 mil because y'all just turned down 3 first-round picks when y'all was going through a rebuild. So the Panthers' hands are pretty much tied. They have made an offer. I don't know the amounts. I don't know what. I don't think that's public as of right now, but they have made an offer. But I would like to see that done like next week, like as soon as possible. Like
it's long overdue. I mean, it's
Yeah.
you got a guy like Burns. I mean, I think they already extended him that 5th-year option. Which so he's gonna get some good money this year anyway. But he needs that long-term extension, man. It's so much easier for the cap, for the cap space, for cap purposes. Just give him an extension. Give him a lot of money because I mean he's earned it. But and he's really only going to get better, like you said. He's one of the top 10 edge rushers in the league for sure. Probably, I figure, if he keeps improving, he'll probably be in the top 5 by the end of next season.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think you just have to go ahead and give him that bag early and give it to him now, because like you said, when you look at the rest of the Panthers defense, even along the whole defensive line, I mean that's really where it starts at. You know what I mean? The Panthers have always been, a front 7 team. You know what I mean? And I guess we can kind of transition to the next topic where really it starts with pass rush, because when you have the cornerbacks that the Carolina Panthers do right now, when you got 2 guys that are injury prone and 2 other guys who just ain't no good, to be completely honest with you, you kind of have to spend that money on that front 7, specifically that defensive line, because if they're getting to the quarterback, then that takes a lot of pressure off the cornerbacks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And kind of before we transition, there was one more thing I wanted to say too. Brian Burns just turned 25, so he's still got plenty of time to get better and stuff like that. And he just turned 25 in April, so he's got time to improve. I think he'll definitely get better, and I think I could definitely see him as like a top 10. I already see him as a top 10 edge rusher, but I can see him as a top 5 eventually. So we'll see what happens. But kind of to transition into what you were just talking about, the Panthers have always kind of built their team in the front 7. That's always what they've done, really, my whole life. They've never really put any type of emphasis on the secondary like that. They really haven't. And I feel like now it's probably the first time they kind of have. They've invested in a high draft pick in Jaycee Horn, which we're about to talk about now. A couple years back, they took a 2nd-round pick flyer on, a super athlete in Dante Jackson, which was I didn't know he was that highly recruited out of high school. He was like the top 10 player in the country coming out of high school. I didn't know Dante Jackson was that highly recruited, but I mean, I see why. He's athletically gifted, especially when it comes to speed. Yeah. So I definitely understand that. And they've really they invested in a trade with the Jaguars to get CJ Henderson, another top 10 pick. So they did a lot to put bodies at that position. But this kind of goes back to what I really want to jump into. Let's talk about Jaycee Horn. All right, Jaycee Horn. I actually did a live on TikTok yesterday, and I said that I think Jaycee Horn is better than Trayvon Diggs. I truly believe that. The issue with Trayvon Diggs, to me personally, is Trayvon Diggs is a bait and switch type of guy. If he's not getting interceptions, he's getting burnt. Like if you turn on the film, the last 2 years statistically, he has given up the most yards in the NFL out of any corner. He's given up the most yards. Now I will be a little softer on Trayvon Diggs because he did just start playing corner like 6 years ago, like 5 years. It's recently. Like he just started playing corner, so I'll be a little lenient with him on that. And that's why his ball skills are so well. Yeah. But what I will say is I think Jaycee Horn is a true lockdown corner when he plays. And that's going to probably get into the point that you want to get to, because I know you've been hard on him about the injuries, and I agree. The best ability is availability, brother. You can't really do nothing if you're not on the field. But to me, Jaycee Horn is a top 7 or 8 corner. I'm gonna name you my top 7 right now. These are my top 7 corners in the NFL right now. No order, but this is mine. Sauce Gardner's going in there somewhere. He's a stud, off rip. Patrick Surtain is going in there somewhere, off rip, immediately. I don't care what, immediately he's going in there for me. Then I'm going to go ahead and say Jalen Ramsey. I know a lot of people have slept on Jalen Ramsey. I'm still putting him in my top 5, in my personal opinion. Now, has he fell off a little bit? Yeah, Jalen has, but I still think he's a top, 5 safety,
Yeah.
5 corner. Jair
Yeah.
Alexander, I'm putting him in there. I think he is super underrated. I don't know why people don't talk about Jair Alexander. I played against that dude in high school. He's an absolute stud. Jair Alexander would be in my top 5. Also, as well, I would probably go ahead and say Marlon Humphreys. A lot of people don't talk about him either. He is a legit top 5 corner in the league. That would be my top 5. So then when we start getting towards 6, 7, and 8, that area, that's when I start thinking about Jaycee Horn, Trayvon Diggs, guys like that. That's when I start looking in that area. How do you feel about that list, and what would you kind of say would be your list?
Yeah, I like the list that you said. Um, I think when we talk about Trayvon Diggs at corner, um, he is a ball hawk for sure.
Yeah,
When it comes to throwing the ball his way, it's either going to be a pick or possibly a touchdown. You know what I mean? He did get better last year, a
yeah,
lot better than he was the year before, which is saying something because he led the league in interceptions the year before. But
right.
um, but I think he's improving and he's getting to the point to where he's starting to become, more of that lockdown corner. I don't think he's top 5 good
Mm-hmm.
in terms of digs, but in terms of my top corners, I think Sauce got to be probably. I probably got Sauce at number 1 to be honest with you.
Yeah,
He
same.
was absolutely outstanding last year. Um, Patrick Surtain, same, same. Really, my top 3 the same as yours. Gardner, Surtain, Ramsey. I like those guys. Really in the top 3. Another guy that I still got ranked really high. He's old and he's bounced around. He's been on 3 teams in the last 3 years. But give me Stephon Gilmore, man. I still
Yeah,
Stephon Gilmore still got it. Um, I wish that Carolina had kept him and paid him, because he's still got it, man. In terms of like mentorship and leadership, he was a much needed presence on the team. And I hate that he's gone. Um, and then I got another underrated name. I think AJ Terrell is a bit underrated.
yeah.
I know we talked about this the other day, but he has he has really, really, really great games, and then he have like one really bad game, and everybody's like, oh, he's trash, blah blah blah.
Right.
No, I think AJ Terrell, he's better than most corners in the NFL right now. Um, but I would honestly have Horn in terms of his potential and in terms of his actual ability. Horn is probably a top 5, 6 corner in the NFL.
That's what I'm saying. I would
He
have him
just
at 6 or 7.
Yeah, he just don't play enough games for me to
Yeah,
go ahead and say it. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like you got guys like Ramsey, Surtain, Sauce. I know he's only been in the league 1 year, but those guys are consistent. You know what I'm saying? They're on the field and they're consistently going after that wide receiver 1. You know what I mean? They follow, they trail, right? Jair Alexander is another guy, like you said, consistently on the field.
yeah.
But a guy like Jaycee Horn, I mean, his talent is up there with those guys, but his availability is lacking. You know what I mean? I seen a stat. Jaycee Horn, I believe, was eligible for 34 games in his career thus far, so 17 across 2 seasons. And he's only played 16 games. You know what I mean? And that's
Not even
across
a
two
full
seasons.
season.
Yeah, so not even a full season, and he's going into year 3. Yeah, Tariq Woolen is another guy.
He's another good one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's a
yeah.
very good corner
I
as well.
forgot one too that I actually mentioned on live on TikTok. I know he got hurt last year, but people forget how great Tre'Davious White is. I would
Yeah,
put him right up there with Humphreys from the Ravens. He's
yeah,
right up there with him. But yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah. No, you good. It's a lot of good corners in the league, man. Jamel Dean
Yeah,
is another name. You know what I mean? It's a lot of
yeah,
good. It's a lot
yeah,
of good corners in the league, man. I just think overall, when it comes to Horn. Somebody said AB said the Panthers made a mistake taking JC over Patrick Surtain, and I like Horn when he's healthy. I agree. I mean, I think for me
Yeah,
personally, I think I had Horn as CB1
I did
in that
too.
draft.
Yeah.
But mostly it's because he's a kind of like the hometown kid. You know what I'm saying? I'm a sucker for drafting players out of Clemson and South Carolina. So I really wanted Horn just for that alone, to be honest with you. But obviously in retrospect, you know what I'm saying, we if we could go back and do it again, we probably should take Certain. Um, and really I think, kind of going back a little bit to the Brian Burns situation, I think that's why another reason why it makes it so important that you pay Brian Burns and that you give him the contract that you need, because we know that Horn isn't going to be, very healthy moving forward. You know what I mean? Like, two freak injuries in 2 years, that's not good, man. You know what I mean? Like two season ending injuries in 2 years, and then he just got hurt a couple weeks ago in
Again.
minicamp. Yeah,
Yeah.
and so it's like I don't know. I I I struggle with having JC high. I'm not as high on him as other Panthers fans are. They think he's the best thing to ever walk the earth. You know what I'm saying? But I just I worry, man. I worry because he's just not available.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, let's be honest. With our fan base, with the Panthers, bro, they think everybody that puts on a Panthers uniform is the greatest thing that ever walked. Like, that's
Hmm.
just what it is. So that's normal. And most, fan base, I'm pretty sure, have that same type of,
Mentality.
people in their fan base as well. But sometimes you just got to be realistic. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I definitely agree with you on that, man. But yeah, I'm kind of with you. I think the only reason Jaycee Horn is not in my top 5 is because of the injuries. If
Hmm.
Jaycee Horn can stay healthy for a full year and be consistently good, like he's always been when he plays, he's
Yeah.
going to my top 5 easy.
Yeah.
Somebody's coming out because I've seen him shut down whole sides of the field.
Yeah.
Like last year when we played Seattle, he shut down a whole side of the field, brother.
Mm.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, for me, when he plays, he's elite, bro. He's really elite. But he got to play more. Availability is the best ability. I can't see you in street clothes, you know, I can't see you in street clothes 10 out of the 17 weeks of the season and say,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, he's a top 5 corner. Like, it's
Yeah.
hard for me to do that because of that. Like, I need to see him healthy. But Jaycee Horn's talent is top 5.
Hmm.
He's lock up. He's going to lock stuff down. He's going to make sure ain't nothing going on his side. He's really, really, really talented. So
Yeah.
for me personally, I do think that, I do really just think that we have to pray that he stays healthy. I mean, to be honest, that he stays healthy because, like you just said, he just got hurt again in minicamp.
Yeah.
Like, so if Jaycee Horn can stay healthy, I think he's a top 5 corner in this league without a doubt, man.
For
But
sure.
like I said, we gotta see him healthy. If we go into another season this year where he gets hurt again, I'm gonna be questioning some things.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be like, all right, man, this is year 3, and you're hurt again for the 3rd time. Like, then we're gonna have to start having some different conversations about, JC. It might be more so, can we get something for him
Yeah.
type of
Right.
conversation. And I don't want to
Yeah.
have those conversations because he's so elite. But if it comes to a 3rd year that he's hurt again and he can't at least go 15 games, yeah, I'm gonna have a problem. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
hold you. Because that's 3 years in a row that we went through the same exact thing with Jaycee Horn. And I hope this is not another Christian McCaffrey situation where we're
Yeah.
looking around saying, oh, he's gone again. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Because we already got enough injured corners with Dante Jackson. He stays injured. He stays in injury tent. CJ Henderson and Keith Taylor, like you said, no disrespect to those brothers. They're not really good at their jobs like that. Let's just call it what it is. So, my personal opinion is, man, JC has to be that guy for the Panthers really to succeed, in my opinion.
Yeah. 100%. Is like you said, it's when you got these the other guys that's on the roster. Jackson, he's probably I don't see, I don't know when he'll return this year because he's coming off of a torn Achilles, right? So he
Yep.
might not play this year, and then when you got, CJ Henderson, who looked really bad last year, right?
Yeah.
He looked really really bad last year.
Yeah.
Keith Taylor looked pretty bad as well. It's scary, man. Like, that's why, like you said, and like we said earlier, the Panthers have to focus on that front 7 and they have to get these cornerback. They have to get these cornerback situations right.
Yeah.
If they don't invest in that front seven. So 100% Horn, one of the top corners in the game when healthy, but he's rarely healthy, right? So
Right.
I
Exactly.
want
Yeah.
go
Go
ahead,
ahead.
go
No,
ahead.
go ahead. You good? Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I wanted to talk about another situation with the Panthers. I know it just kind of happened last night, but I don't know if you've seen it. But Sam Darnold's comments about
Oh yeah.
why he chose the 49ers. I know it was a comment in the chat. Yeah, there it is. So Ace Commander said Niners fans think Sam Darnold might cook for them. So I mean, yeah, every fan base got them type of fans. Yeah. And Sam got a lot of nerve to to say what he said last night when they asked him why he chose to go to the 49ers. And he said guys are open. Now, I will say, I do like Debo and Ayuk. I understand that the 49ers, they do have a nice little squad over there, so don't get me wrong. But one thing that Sam got to understand is that even when the guys were open in Carolina, he was throwing it to the other team. You know what I mean? He was throwing it in triple coverage. I know you still remember that Giants game. He was throwing it
Yep.
in triple coverage. I know you remember that Cowboys game. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? Like, I he got a lot of nerve. You know what I mean? So it's funny. I know we talked about this last week too, but it's funny how a lot of people leave the Carolinas and then immediately got something to say. You know what I'm saying? But they not taking accountability. Matt Rule is one of them. Sam Darnold was one of them, and they two peas of the pod. And of the same pod, right? Two cheeks of the same butt, as as people would say,
Bradley.
right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Right.
I can't. I hope we get a chance to see him some point soon, and let them know how what we really think about him in Carolina.
Yeah. Nah. Let me go ahead and tee off on Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold, bro. I'm gonna get straight to it. Sam Darnold, bro. You're probably a good guy. You seem like a nice dude. I don't know how you are as a person. But bro, you ain't good enough to be talking like that. You not
No.
good enough to be talking like, oh well, they get open over here. You not good enough, bro. You was seeing ghosts 3 years ago. Stop it,
Yeah.
stop it. You was seeing ghosts, bro. Like stop, like bro. I'm sorry, like I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not even trying to disrespect this man. He in the NFL. You know what I'm saying? Cool. He really won in life. I'm not even mad at him. But dude, you not good enough to be talking like you, Patrick Mahomes, my brother.
Right.
You're not good enough. You're not. And granted, like you just said, the 49ers, yes, do they have better skill players than us? Absolutely. I won't even hide. They're one of the better constructed teams in the NFL. So I'm not even going to like go there. But saying stuff like, oh, cause the guys getting open here, that's disrespect to DJ Moore, who I think is a really good player. Honestly, that's disrespect to one of your teammates that are now your teammate again in Christian McCaffrey when he was there. It's just, bro, you not good enough to be talking like that, bro. Like
Right.
straight up, you not Sam Darnold. You are not good. You're not good. You are literally the epitome of a draft bust. You can't be
Hmm.
talking like you Patrick Mahomes, my brother. Like you can't do that, man. In
Yeah.
my opinion, it's disrespectful, bro.
I
Now,
agree.
if he would have said like, "Hey, man, you know what I'm saying? I came to San Francisco for a better opportunity. I feel like we can win some more games here." I would have took that perfectly fine. But to come off and be like, "Oh yeah, I know guys gonna get over here," pretty much laying the groundwork of saying them guys over at the Panthers, yeah, they stink. By the way, those wide
Hmm.
receivers I played with, they stink. When you were a part of the stinkage, like
Yeah.
that's my problem with Sam Darnold, bro. Like, stop it, man. Like that's ridiculous, bro. Like, I'm sorry, bro. Like, Sam
It's
Darnold, stop. Like, see, like
it's
seriously, bro. That's all I can say is Sam Darnold, please shut up, bro. For I really have to get on you. Like, it's going to be bad. Bro, Sam Darnold, you not good enough, bro, to be talking like that, bro. Like, facts.
no.
Like,
It's these head coaches getting his head, man. They keep gassing him up and making
yeah,
him saying like he one of the best things on the earth, one of the best quarterbacks on the planet. You know what I mean? And I mean Matt Rule used to always baby him. You know what I mean? And now Kyle Shanahan saying he might get a chance to start this year. You know what I mean? It's like it's just the craziest thing. They say that people keep saying that he got the talent of a top prospect, and they keep saying that because he's so young and because he got a nice release or whatever. But the film and the tape says it all. The numbers say it all.
bro.
And Sam is one of the worst quarterbacks in NFL history.
We've been
You know,
saying this about Sam for 6 years now, bro.
yeah,
Like,
Yeah,
y'all gotta eventually let it go. This
right.
dude stinks. Sam Darnold, you suck. Like, bro, we gotta stop
Yeah.
doing this. Like, I'm sorry, bro. He's not about to have no Geno Smith resurgence, bro. Like, that has literally barely ever happened. Geno
Yeah.
Smith might be the first resurgent at the quarterback position I've really ever seen.
We've
To be
seen
honest, in
for
my
sure.
life.
Yeah, my
So
lifetime. Yeah.
I really don't. Sam, just stop talking. In my
Yeah.
opinion, just shut up. Just do your thing in San Francisco. I wish you nothing but the best, but you can't be talking like that, bro. In my
Yeah.
opinion, he ain't good enough to
100%.
talk like that. And I don't even understand why he would be starting, because I think Trey Lance still hasn't been given a fair chance out there.
Lance way better than him, bro. Based off of what we've
Yeah,
seen in just 1.5 games, Lance already better than Darnold, bro.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The man played in 1.5 games. I don't know why the Niners are just so quick to say, "Oh yeah, we're done with like you ain't seen him play."
Yeah.
Like, I don't really understand that either. But I know Brock Purdy, they were saying his injury might be like career-ending type situation.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
There's so much going on with that Brock Purdy situation. It's almost confusing because they say,
Yeah,
at one point they say that his career is almost. When the injury first happened, they were saying, "Oh, he might not ever play again." I was like, "Dang, that's a lot for." I think he got to get. Was it Tommy John surgery? Is that
yeah,
what
I think
his,
something like that. Something like that. Yeah,
they said it was career threatening injury. And then they talking about he's actually on pace to return midway through the season, maybe even week 1. I'm like, dog, like,
yeah.
goodness gracious, how y'all go from career threatening to, he probably gonna be starting
Mid of the
when
year,
the
like,
season. Yeah,
yeah,
that's crazy. Like,
yeah,
and
it's
then
crazy.
and in the midst of all that, Kyle Shanahan gassing up Sam Darnold, even though the tape that we've seen from Sam has been
Has
absolutely
been
garbage.
trash.
And then, and like you said, I agree. Trey Lance hasn't really gotten a fair shot, and he's
At
kind of just
all.
sitting in the middle of all of this. And it's really not fair. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to take anything away from Brock Purdy because he was absolutely outstanding last year. You know what I'm saying? I think he did what he needed to do. I mean, he was pretty much doing what Jimmy G did for all
Yeah,
those years in
right.
San Francisco. You know what I mean? He was doing enough to help the team get to where they needed to be.
Yeah,
But I think Lance, I think he just has that extra ability. His arm strength is better. His legs, what I'm saying, what he can do with his legs. You know what I'm saying? He's just a super talent at quarterback. And unfortunately that ankle injury and Brock Purdy's resurgence or rise, I should say, kind of hindered all of that. But
right.
I agree, man. I think Lance, I think they need to give him a fair shot because he should be able to do everything that Purdy can do.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
at the very least, at least if he gets more reps, because that's another thing a lot of people don't talk about is that Purdy played more games in college too. You know what I mean?
Right.
If I'm not mistaken, Purdy played in college for 5 years. You know, and because then he come from Iowa State, and
Yeah,
then
he did.
yeah, he played a lot of football at Iowa State, whereas Lance only played a year, and then he had the COVID situation. He only played 2 games after that, if I'm not mistaken. He might have
Yeah.
played 2 years and 2 games or something like that. But Lance is still a very raw player. And so I think with 49ers just give Lance a chance during Purdy's healing process, they'll see that they might have actually 2 good quarterbacks on the roster that they can do something with in the future.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. Like I said, and one more thing, and then we're gonna start kind of moving over to our next subject, which is college football. For me personally, man, I really think that if Desmond Ritter struggles the first couple weeks in Atlanta, if I'm
Mm-hmm.
Atlanta, I'm blowing up San Francisco's phone if they still don't really want Lance, in my
Lance,
opinion.
yeah,
I would give him a call personally. I
yeah,
think Trey Lance would be perfect for that Atlanta Falcons offense. The way they ground and pound, they like to run that read option. I think he would be really good in that. So I would
yeah,
like to see what they would do if
yeah,
Desmond Ritter comes out the gate stinks and they like, all right, we 0-5 or something, or 1-4 or something like that. Do we make a switch? So that would be
right,
interesting. I would like to see the Falcons possibly do that, in my opinion. I think the Falcons, if things go wrong with Ritter early, I think they should give Trey Lance a call, personally, in
yeah,
my opinion.
for
I think that
sure. I
would be
mean,
a really good fit.
it's really 2 teams in the South. You could say the Buccaneers might do the same thing.
Bucks
Yeah,
too. Yeah,
they
because
they they
Baker
might do the
definitely
same
ain't gonna
thing.
do nothing.
He's not gonna do
Yeah,
it, And so I think Lance. I think there's a market out there for him. It's gotten smaller after the draft for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if he goes somewhere like let's say even Seattle, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm not saying Geno might stink, but let's say Seattle's like you know what, Geno, he's doing very well right now, but we
Right,
still need a quarterback of the future. Maybe he goes to Seattle one day, right?
right,
I think he has a shot to to be somebody somewhere. The Patriots
right,
might be another team. They might say, you know what, Mac Jones ain't doing it. We need somebody like a Trey Lance, right? So
right,
so yeah, I think there's opportunity out there for him somewhere. The 49ers will without a doubt probably be the best team that he could possibly play for.
right.
But if they not giving him a shot, then yeah, they should be calling other teams honestly and seeing what they can get for him.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. Let's move on over to a little bit of college football, man. So we're coming up on college football season, as I said, 2 weeks before really camp start. I think Clemson's camp starts. It might be August 1st, and we ain't far
Mm,
from that.
yeah.
So it's right around the corner. So we're coming up on it, man. We get into that time where it's about to start be full on football talk and full on football season. So let's talk about a few things here. I want to start off with who I kind of think coming into this season. I want to talk about who I think personally coming into this season are the top 10 teams in college football. So for
Hmm.
me, I think the best team is still the Georgia Bulldogs. They've won 2 titles in a row, back to back. I think they deserve to be at number one. At number two, talent wise, let me say that again. I think Ohio State is number two. I think we don't really know about the quarterback situation, which does scare me from putting them at number two. But talent wise, they're up there, bro. At number three, in my personal opinion, I think you have to put Michigan in the mix. Michigan brings back a lot. They're talent for talent. They're right up there with Ohio State now. And I think that's going to be a real interesting division with Penn State in there too, because I'm about to rank them in my top 10 as well, because I
Yeah.
think they're going to be really good. At four, I'm probably going to go ahead and go with Bama. I'm going to be honest with you. It's still, I'm not going to sleep on Nick Saban. I still think he's going to be pretty good. So I don't want to sleep on him too much. But I think that at four, Bama's going to be right in the mix. Then at five, that's where things get interesting. I think Southern Cal will be right there at five because of
Mm,
their top end talent at the wide receiver position and all that. I think they're going to be really, really good. And I think the Pac-12 might be the second best conference. We'll talk about that in a minute, but I think they might be the second best conference coming into this year. We'll talk about that later on. And then at seven, this is where things get tricky because I have Clemson, I have Florida State, I think Texas. I'm big on Texas this year.
woo.
Texas, I have Notre Dame. I think
Mm,
all these teams are going to be kind of I have Washington. I think
mhm.
all these teams are going to be competing in that 7 to 10 range. So those teams I just named, Texas, Clemson, Florida State, Notre Dame. I think all those teams are going to be in that same kind of area from like 7 to 10. I really don't even want to put them in order because I think they're all going to be kind of equivalent with each other in that
Yeah.
area. So what's your thoughts on it? In my opinion, that would
Uh,
kind of be my top 10 going into the season. Oh, and one more team. Matter of fact, I want to put it in order actually. Let me start that over.
Go
At
ahead.
6, are you ready for this, bro? At
Yeah.
6, excuse me, at 7, I'm going to put Penn State.
Hmm.
At 8, I'm going to put Clemson. At 9, I'm putting Florida State. And at 10, I'm going to put Texas. That's how I
Who's
would.
so you got Georgia, Ohio
Mm-hmm.
State, Michigan,
Yep.
Bama.
Yep.
Who is five? You
USC.
said five
USC.
is
I had
USC.
USC. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then
Yep.
go ahead from there.
And then
6.
6, I had Penn State. I think Penn State is going to be legit this year. I
Okay.
think Penn State, out of any chance they have of winning a college football playoff, this is going to be the year. They are
Mm,
loaded on O-line. They are loaded in the linebacker room. They probably have the second best D-line in the country right now, in my
mm,
personal opinion. They are loaded. Penn State, and now they're saying Drew Ayers is like the next guy. I think Drew Ayers is going to be that guy, bro. Like, I could see him taking that like Trevor Lawrence type step.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest, bro. I got Penn State at 6. I got Clemson at 7. I got Florida State at 8. Oh, he said LSU. That's a good one. I
That
probably would
was
put LSU. I probably would
yeah,
put LSU at either like 9 or 10. I probably
yeah.
would put LSU right in that same area with Florida State and Clemson. So like, I
Hmm.
probably put LSU at 9 or 8, 7, somewhere in that ballpark with Clemson. That's what I'm saying. That little 7 to 10 range in college football
Yeah.
right now is like this.
Yeah.
Like really after USC, it's a bunch of teams that are just right there with each other. You
Yep.
know what I'm saying? I think Clemson, FSU, LSU, all of them in that area, Penn State, all of them are kind of all you can put them really anywhere, and I'll be
Yeah.
cool with it for real.
Yeah.
Anywhere from 6 to 10, I would be cool with.
Yeah. I agree, man. I think I'll be honest with you. I think college football this season, I think it's as wide open as it's ever been, to be
Yeah.
honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I let me give you my list real quick. I think Georgia for sure probably got to be the top dog. They got to be number one.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not gonna count them out like I did last year and say, oh, they're not gonna repeat. I'm not doing that. So Georgia, I think, is the top team in college football right now. Um, I think I agree with your top four, to be honest with you. I would go Michigan probably because I think they're returning more stability, at least on offense, than
Mm-hmm.
Ohio State is. And just in terms of their quarterback has experience now, right? McCarthy. And
Right.
they probably got the two best running backs really in college football, the best duo, I would say, in Corum and Edwards. And then I would probably go I would say Ohio State and Bama is next for sure. They're all you can't ever count them out. And then like you said, USC Trojans, best quarterback in college football right now, and Caleb Williams for sure. I got those guys. Um, and then I would say at six, I actually have LSU there at six. I think LSU is a good
Yeah.
team. I
LSU is
think
gonna be
they
good.
I think they got a lot returning. And they just, building off of what they did last year, I think LSU is going to be solid. I think we have a good path to the playoff
Mm-hmm.
with us playing in the ACC, and I think really it's really between us and Florida State, who I have at
Yeah.
8.
Yeah.
I have them
So you
right
have
after us.
Clemson at 7 and then Florida State
Yeah.
at 8. Okay.
Yep. Uh-huh. For me, I would go. I like Tennessee's too. Still,
Yeah,
I would
Tennessee's
go.
gonna be good this year.
Yeah, I think Tennessee at 9 for me probably. And then really at 10, man, like you said, I got Washington, I got Notre Dame. I think Oregon could even be a shot at 10 right there.
Yep.
Shoot, I'm trying to think who I'd admit. Penn State would be another team at 10. So really any of those teams, I'd probably go Washington at 10, personally.
Yep.
But so yeah, so I got Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, Bama, uh USC Trojans, LSU, Clemson, Florida State. Uh, and who else I said? I know Washington at 10. And did I say Notre Dame at 9? Is that
Yeah,
who
I
I
think
had?
Notre Dame at 9. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah,
I think
that'll
you have Notre
be.
Dame at 9.
Oh, did I say Tennessee at 9? I think Tennessee, and
No,
then
you put
Washington.
Tennessee at 9. That's
Yeah,
right. Yep. Yeah, you
Tennessee,
had
then
Tennessee at
Washington.
9.
Yep.
Yep. Now that's a pretty good
So,
list. We do got some breaking news that's breaking right now. So I'm gonna do this and we'll get back to this. Breaking news: DeAndre Hopkins has signed to the Tennessee Titans. So he is now going to Tennessee. The Tennessee Titans have picked up a wide receiver 1. Cam, what is your initial feelings about that, bro?
trash. Trash. That's trash. I'm not gonna lie to you. That was the worst thing he could have possibly went to, in my opinion. I do not like that at all, bro. Because I just think about how Tennessee treats wide receivers. They mean, first of all, they brought in Julio, didn't do nothing with him. I know Julio a little bit older. Yeah, I agree. Where wide receivers go to die. You know what I'm saying? Their offense is focused on running the ball. You know what I mean? Newt himself even said that he would retire when he's not a 1,000-yard receiver no more.
He ain't
If
gonna be one
DeAndre
this year.
That's what I'm saying. If DeAndre Hopkins makes it to 1,000 yards this year with the Tennessee Titans, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer if he makes it. I mean, he might be one anyway, but he's a first ballot Hall of Famer if he makes it to 1,000 yards with the Tennessee Titans this year. This is and see, AB, I see what you're saying about the Patriots. I actually disagree. I think the Patriots would have been a better shot because
Both of them would have been
um
horrible fits, honestly.
yeah, it would have been terrible. Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree. I agree. I think the Patriots would have been a little bit better because I think the Patriots still have a competitive team. Like I think Tennessee's gonna be one of the worst teams in the league this year, to be
I do
completely
too.
honest with you.
Yeah,
So
I
I
do too.
think in terms of like where he is in his career, especially because he said a while ago that he wanted to go play for a good quarterback and a contender. I mean, the Patriots don't have that. I mean, Mac is probably one of the bottom
Average.
5 starters in the league, maybe bottom 10, something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but Tennessee, man, I don't like that fit at all, bro. I mean, because they don't even know who the quarterback gonna be. Tannehill, old, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, Malik Willis and Will Levis. I mean, that's not gonna
Yeah,
be that's not gonna be fun, bro, for Nuke. And he just said that he didn't want to play for nobody young. You know what I mean? So and you got Tannehill probably is gonna be on his way out, and Malik Willis and Will Levis. I mean, they both two inexperienced quarterbacks, right? And they're gonna throw a lot of interceptions this year. Whoever's a starter.
yeah.
So me personally, I don't like that fit. Would have rather him go to I would have rather him go to a team like the Bills. Would have rather him go to the
Chiefs,
Carolina Panthers. You know, if he gonna play for a young quarterback, why not play for Bryce
Bryce.
Young?
Right.
Yeah, Chiefs, obviously, 100%, man. I don't like that, man. What are your thoughts?
I hate it.
Yeah,
I hate it. I hate it for Nuke.
yeah,
Y'all know me, and we're gonna jump right back into Clemson in a second in the
yeah,
ACC. But as a Clemson fan, I hate this for Nuke because his career is done. It's over. It's
yeah,
over. I mean, I hate to be like dramatic. Him going to Tennessee with Tannehill, his career is over. It's over.
yeah,
I mean, that's just a flat out point. It's over. That team is centrally located around running the ball with Derrick Henry. I would be surprised if he gets to 1,000 yards this year.
yeah.
Um, I don't see it. I don't see it. I do not like this for DeAndre Hopkins. I just don't like it. I think it's horrible. I mean, when you really look at the weapons on that team, it's going to be pretty much Henry and him. That's it.
Yeah,
It'll be Henry and him.
yeah.
Everywhere else, they look like crap. I think
They,
Tannehill's a top 18 quarterback or so. I probably put him around 16, 17, 18, somewhere in that ballpark.
yeah,
But I just don't see it. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we'll come back in a month and in a couple months and be like, hey, he's balling.
yeah,
But, it's just only reason I can think that he chose Tennessee is because he knows he's going to get the most volume.
yeah.
There's
Facts.
nobody else to throw
Yep,
to.
yep.
Like, are you going to throw to Treylon Burks, who's
Burks.
a second-year player that really didn't do much in his first year? Like,
Yeah,
I don't like it. I don't
yeah,
like it. I don't like it. I don't like the move. And I think it's a bad move, personally, in my opinion. But I wish the best, obviously, for Nuke. I'm a huge fan.
yeah.
I kind of grew up around some of his people, and you know what I'm saying? I wish him nothing but the best. But, I mean, if he asks me how'd you feel about it, I don't like the move. I don't
Yeah,
think it's a good career move, especially this late in your career, because now if he goes to Tennessee and stinks up the joint, and he probably will because it's Tennessee, it's kind of like who's gonna really
that's
want to mess with him then? I don't know what the
right.
details of his contract are because they haven't came out yet. But me personally, man, I wouldn't want to go to Tennessee.
No,
Okay, somebody just said it. It's 2 years, 26 million. So maybe he can get out after this year. Maybe. If
that's
there's a possible out. But yeah,
said
I don't like that.
13 mil a year. Dang, Nuke. That's
I ain't gonna lie, the Panthers could have gave him that.
that's what I'm saying. That's all you got. With
Yeah,
like, good God, Nuke.
seriously.
Because I'm thinking,
God, the
God, my
Panthers could have gave
man's
him that contract.
so he getting paid 2 mil more than Juju Smith-Schuster and what's my man
He
name? Jacoby Myers.
Jacoby
Because they
Myers.
signed
Yep.
they signed for 3 years, 33 mil, I believe. So he getting paid 2 mil more than them boys. Nuke. Nuke, I don't like that, brother. I'm not even gonna hold you. I don't like that, Nuke. You should have Nuke. Why you ain't go to why, why you ain't go to the Chiefs or the Bengals or yeah, I mean even well not the Bengals, but the Bills. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Why you ain't go
something.
to the
He should
Packers
have.
or something?
I
Like
agree with AB. He should have waited it out a little bit and see if somebody else was going to
Cowboys,
wait to
Chiefs,
maybe training camp or something like that and
bro.
then sign. But yeah, that's crazy. But let's get back over to the college football talk real quick. I just want to talk a quick Clemson, and then we're gonna get into our last segment of the day. Let's talk about Clemson this year and expectations. For me personally, I talked about this yesterday on my live. I think Clemson's winning 10 games this year. I think they're losing 2. I've been saying this all year. I think Clemson has become what Oklahoma was a few years ago when they was just barely scraping in the playoffs or getting, like 10 wins or something like that. I kind of think that's where Clemson is right now, personally. I still don't really know about Cade Klubnik, but I think we're gonna find out a lot about him pretty soon because I think first game of the year, Duke, Labor Day night. Duke is I don't know why people are asleep. Duke won 9 games last year in football, bro. Yeah. They're a good team, led by Mike Elko. We're going to find out about Cade Klubnik early, often, and soon because within the first 4 weeks, he's going to play Duke, who's going to be pretty good, and then he's going to play Florida State just 3 weeks later. So we're going to find out about Cade quickly and Garrett Riley and the new offense and all that. We're going to find out about that soon. But in my opinion, the 2 games I worry about the most on our schedule is the Notre Dame game that will be in Clemson, and then also as well the Florida State game that also will be in Clemson. Now, with no divisions, I will say this: with no divisions, you're gonna get to, even if you do lose to Florida State, maybe in Clemson, you can play them in Charlotte if you win out. You know what I'm saying? Because Notre Dame is not a conference game. So maybe then you can kind of avenge your loss, but we already know 2 losses, you ain't getting in the college football playoff with that. But Garrett Riley has did more with less. I thought that was a great move by Dabo to lay his foot down and say, "Hey man, I'm going to get the best coordinator in college football." I thought that was because Dabo hasn't done that in a decade. He's normally, let's do this buddy system. The fact that he went and got Garrett Riley, the best offensive mind in the country last year, I mean, it's hard to really like not fathom that Clemson will be better. And with, DJ, no disrespect, with DJ Uyunglele being gone, it makes me feel like Clemson can get the 10 or 11 wins. But I just got to see it. I'm not just putting this blind hope in Clemson no more because we've just lost the playoffs. We've just not gotten into playoffs for the last 2 years. So I'm kind of back on like, let me see what y'all going to do first. But the Florida State game will definitely tell me a lot, though.
Yeah, for sure, man. I agree with everything you just said, man. I think we're moving into a better direction right now. Like you said, I think Dabo has gotten a little bit out of his way, being that whole buddy nepotism thing that he got going on, and he's starting to realize that it takes more to win in college football in this landscape, right? We did it a certain way, in years past, but now it's time to do it a different way. You got to change things up, man. You can't, you can be consistently good 9, 10, 11 wins, but if you want to get to 13, 14, 15 wins in the season, you got to change it up regularly. You know what I mean? And so I agree with everything you just said. Huge test on the road, first game of the season on a Monday night in Duke, led by Riley Leonard, one of the best quarterbacks in the ACC, USA. I agree with everything you said about Cade Klubnik too. It's still brand new to me. I think he's still raw. I didn't like what I seen in the spring game. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Tennessee
really Tennessee. I was a little worried. Defense again, off the charts. Should finish as the best defense in Power
Clemson
5.
Clemson should have the best defense in the college football.
Yeah.
They should be the best. I mean, they bring back the most veteran presence. I think they bring back like 10 or 9 starters from last year. I think the only people they lost was Miles Murphy and Brian Brzee, which were both, first round picks. So besides that, the whole defense is coming back this year. They have the best linebacking core in the country, led by, Barrett Carter and also as well Jeremiah Trotter. I think they slick have the best defensive line in the country as well this year. I mean, when you look at the depth of that team, You have Xavier Thomas. Hopefully, he's able to stay healthy this year. Justin Maskell, who came back for another season. Also as well, Tyler Davis, somebody that was expected to go like second round in the draft last year. Like second or third round, he was going to be gone. Ruka Roro, you know, me and you, we love Rook.
That's Rook, bro.
Rook is a dog. Rook starts at probably 90% of college football schools besides Clemson. Like, he would be starting at most schools. They have, what's my guy from Alabama? Peter Woods. I mean, he's going to play very early. Peter Woods is going to be an absolute athlete. I mean, he's going to be coming in early and probably playing valuable minutes. Also, as well, when you look at guys like Damon Capehart, this guy was like the number 1 D lineman in the country in 2019 when he came out. So Clemson, Peyton Page is another one. Clemson, by far, talent-wise, I think has the best D-line in the country coming into the season. So that defense should be immaculate this year. In the secondary, they bring everybody back. Nate Wiggins, the last 6 weeks of the season, one of the better corners in the whole college football. After that Wake Forest game, after he got toasted, he turned it on. It was like, oh, I got it now. I know how to play football now. And Nate Wiggins was on from really the Wake Forest game on back. Sheridan Jones back again for another good season. Jalen Phillips. I think this guy is the most underrated player on the Clemson team. Nobody talks about him. Is R.J. Mickens. He's been our best safety really for the last 2 years, and nobody talks about it. Everybody talks about Makuba, who's also coming back. But I think R.J. Mickens has been our best safety on the team for the last 2 years, in my opinion. So, I'm excited. And he was like the number 1 safety coming out of Texas, when we got him a couple years back. So for me, the Clemson's defense should be immaculate this year. I mean, we should be giving up 17 points a game at most. Like, their defense should be elite this year.
Yeah, for sure. It shouldn't, like you said, it shouldn't be no room for anything on that defense this year, man. They gonna be stout, man, for real. Like you said, my man's right here, Malik Peter Woods gonna show out. Absolutely, man. He was dominant in the spring game. Playing against grown men. This is a dude that just did he graduate high school yet?
He graduated high school, I think he joined mid-year. So I think he was a December.
Mid-year? Yeah. So I mean, it's grad. So like it's crazy to think like that dude, he going up against grown men who've been at Clemson for a minute and was just bullying boys. So P. Woo, man, y'all look out for him, man. He gonna be something special. But in terms of our tests on the schedule, man, like you said, Duke Monday night, first game of the season. Florida State probably gonna be, that's the big matchup. I think we're gonna play Florida. I think we're gonna play them twice this year.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So I think Florida State's gonna be the huge matchup at Syracuse. Always a little something. That's always going on.
Game.
Yeah, something always going on. Wake Forest. I don't know.
At NC State too. At NC State is gonna be a tricky one as well.
Yeah. 100%, man. Notre Dame at home is good for us. Wake Forest at home is good for us. I know they lost their quarterback. North Carolina at home is good for us.
Yeah,
we got North Carolina on the schedule this year. And that's the last game. That's the second to last game of the season before the road trip to Williams-Brice Stadium in South Carolina, man. And we coming to get that lick back, man. We got to get that one. We got to get that one, bro.
Yeah,
I'm not even gonna hold you. I'm not even gonna hold you as a Clemson fan, bro. Like, one thing about it. Clemson always talks about you got to win the opener, you got to win the state, you got to win the conference, and you got to win the national championship. That's the big four, man. And we got to win the state this year, man. I think that's so important for Cade Klubnik and really just for the team moving forward, man. You got to win the state, bro. It really starts at home. And hopefully, I think we'll get, really, when I'm looking at the schedule, Duke should be a win.
Yeah.
Charleston Southern, Florida Atlantic, those I've got to be wins. Florida State, if we're gonna say we're losing the game, I'm gonna say Florida State. I say that. I say Florida State. Syracuse should be a win.
You never know.
Yeah, might split exactly. So Florida State might be a loss. Syracuse win. Wake Forest win. Miami win. North Carolina State win. Notre Dame. Man, we got to get that lick back too. I ain't gonna lie to you.
We need them too. They done had our number low key the last couple years, bro.
You're not lying. So Notre Dame, that if there's another loss on the schedule, it's Notre Dame. But Georgia Tech, North Carolina should be wins for sure. And then South Carolina, I mean, I think at most At worst, we're talking about 9-3 with really just one conference loss
Yeah.
with Florida State. So that'll put us in the conference championship, and I think we'll beat them a second time around.
Yeah,
So
nah, I definitely agree with that, bro.
yeah,
Like I said, and I'm with you, man. I don't want to say I'm glad South Carolina beat us last year because I'm not, but it did kind of reinitiate the rivalry because it felt like
yeah,
that rivalry kind of got dormant. It was just a Clemson like
it was it
blowout
was
party.
almost a
Like,
decade since they had
yeah,
beat us.
yeah, we're going on 7 years of just beating up on them. So it was
Yeah,
kind of good to see like Clemson fans now being reinvigorated again by like South Carolina fans because it's been a while. It's been
yeah,
a while. You know what I'm saying? It's been 7 years. So I'm kind of glad that the rivalry has somewhat steam. And you know me, I'm not no hater. I'll be real. Shout out to Shane Beamer. They're doing a really
yeah,
good job. South Carolina's
yeah.
doing
They
a
are.
really good job. They're doing a really good job building. Shane Beamer's doing a good job recruiting. He's doing a real. I think Shane Beamer is one of the most underrated coaches in college football right now.
Yeah, for
Already
sure,
after
for
two
sure.
years, and I was a guy that thought, well, if his
He was a
dad,
joke. Yeah,
yeah, I thought he was a joke, low key.
yeah,
Like his dad didn't hire him at Virginia Tech. They didn't want to hire him at Virginia Tech when and he grew up there with his dad and stuff. And they had just let Fuente go. So I was like, well, dang, if Virginia Tech didn't take him, why would South Carolina take him? I took him as a joke, low key. I ain't
yeah.
gonna lie, and he's really proved me wrong. So shout out to Shane Beamer too. I ain't no hate my game. I'll give credit where it's due for sure.
Credits due. Yeah,
Um,
hundred
yeah,
percent.
so he's definitely did a really good job. Let's go ahead and jump into the last topic of the day. We're gonna talk about me and Cam are doing a
Draft.
sports franchise draft. Who are the most successful franchises in our minds and our eyes? Who are the most successful and the best ran franchises in all of sports? The big four mainly: baseball, basketball, even college football. You can throw that in there as well. The
Yeah.
best four ran franchises program of all time. So this is not just in the last 10 years. This is not just in the last year. This is all time. So if you want to go back to 1970 or something like that, that's fine. Of all time, who are the best ran sports franchises? That's our draft today. So last week, as I said, I won the draft, so I will be picking first. So as my number one pick, my official, and it took me some time because I battled between two. My number one pick as best ran sports franchise of all time is the New York Yankees. The
Dang, bro.
Yankees won 27 rings. They won 27 rings. And so many greats have walked through those doors, bro. Babe Ruth, right? Alex A-Rod, you know what I'm saying? Derek Jeter. The list goes on. Aaron Judge. For
Yeah,
my number one pick, it only makes sense to take the Yankees. They've been really relevant pretty much the whole time baseball has pretty much existed. I gotta take the Yankees number one, bro. That's my number one pick, and I think they are the best sports ran franchise in all of sports, in my opinion.
I agree, man.
Was that
I
your? I'm
agree,
guessing that
and
was your
that
pick
was
at one.
that was 100% my pick, man. I got to go
Okay.
back to the drawing board and see.
Yep.
That was 100%
Mhm.
my pick, man.
I was debating between one team and the other, but we'll see who you take. But yeah, that's my number one pick.
I'm probably gonna take shoot, man.
Threw you for a
I'm
loop there, huh? You didn't think I was gonna pull
Yeah,
that
because the
Yankee
thing,
card.
I ain't think so, bruh. I ain't think so, man. Another thing about the Yankees, they got a they got a they're they have a positive win percentage against every team in the MLB, so they dominate everybody. So
That's what I'm
they're
saying. You had to.
yeah,
When
they
I did my research on the Yankees,
yeah,
because I was debating between the Yankees and another sports team, and I was like, I
yeah.
gotta go Yankees, bro.
There's no brainer that it's really no brainer.
Yeah,
Like when it boils down to it, the Yankees got to be number one.
yeah,
My first pick, I'm gonna have to take. I'm gonna take the Los Angeles Lakers, man,
yeah.
with my
That was
first
my
pick.
daggone second pick. I knew you were gonna do
Yeah,
that to me. That's all right.
I'm gonna take and I think I know who your second pick gonna be, but I'm gonna take the Lakers because when I look at the whole history of the Lakers, it's not even so much as the rings. They have they're tied for the most in NBA history, but when you look at the players that these guys have had and what they've done for the game of basketball, right?
Right.
Go all the way back. I mean, you got Wilt. You know what I'm saying? I don't even know who. I can't even name everybody. Wilt, Magic, Shaq, Kareem, LeBron, Kobe. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just so many greats in Lakers history, and they really the top team in the NBA in terms of everybody wants to replicate the success that they've had over decades and decades. So I got the Lakers with my first pick.
Okay, that was definitely, if you said somebody else, that was definitely going to be my. I was like, please say somebody else,
Yeah,
because if I go ahead and put Yankees, because I couldn't turn down the Yankees, bro.
no,
They've been too
no,
elite. I was like, okay, gotta do that, gotta go ahead and do that. So for my number 2 pick overall, give me the Boston Celtics. I can't stand the Celtics. They get on my nerves. I hate their fans, but there's no way we cannot talk about the success that
yeah,
organization has had.
yeah,
I mean, just look at it. They've had greats walk through those doors for the last, 50, 60 years. I mean, it's just incredible what they've been able to do. Boston Celtics are one of the main franchises in really of all of sports, one of the most recognized franchises in all of sports. I mean, there was no way with Bill Russell, Larry Bird, it was no way I wasn't going to put them in my top 2. I mean,
yeah,
as much as I don't like them, they have to go in my top 2. I think they are the second best ran sports franchise in all of sports.
yeah. I agree, man. I think the Lakers and Celtics, they would at least had to be the second pick.
Yeah,
And you know what I'm
yeah.
saying? So I agree with you, man. My next pick, my number 2 overall pick, man. I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. I'm actually gonna take the Alabama Crimson Tide football team, man.
Woo! Okay,
I'm not gonna lie to you.
that's a good one.
I think they got the most championships um in college sports. You know
Yep.
what I'm saying? In college football for sure. I think they're the staple, right? You look at every decade, they're always there, right? They're always one of the top teams, especially recently since 2000,
Yeah.
and even in the college football playoff era. Um, they're just Nick Saban, Bear Bryant. I mean, it really just don't get no better than that. In terms of a dominant hold that a certain team has on its sport, I don't see how uh, the Alabama Crimson Tide football team isn't among the top in all of sports. You know what I mean? Because
Right.
they're just dominant year in and year
Dominant.
out. Everybody is afraid of Alabama except like a handful of teams right now. But everybody knows that Alabama, you got to go through Alabama to get to where you want to get to. Everybody has Georgia, Clemson, Ohio State, all these teams that have won in the last few years, they've had to go through Bama. So give me and even LSU. So give me Alabama.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's a perfect pick. I can't even get mad at that.
Yeah.
That's probably where I would have went as well. So at my number 3 pick overall for most our best ran sports franchise, my number 3 pick overall is going to be the Pittsburgh Steelers. I have to
Hmm.
put the Pittsburgh Steelers there. 6 championships. I think they've had like 7 Super Bowl appearances. I mean, bro, let's just be real. They are, when you think about the NFL, as in like you think about them, the Pittsburgh Steelers are just, they're the epitome of what football means. Like
Yeah.
the Iron Curtain, like, bro, you have to put Pittsburgh in my top 3. I just felt like it was a no-brainer. They're a well-ran franchise, always are in the mix literally every single year. They haven't had a losing season now, I think, for like what, 17 years, I think, at this point. It's
Something
like,
like that.
yeah, they haven't had a losing record since Tomlin walked in the door, which I think was 16 years ago. So you gotta put them in there. I had to put them at my number 3 spot. Give me the Pittsburgh Steelers.
All right. I like it, man. I like it. But I'm not gonna lie to you, man. My number 3 spot, I'm picking another NFL team. I got the
Mm-hmm.
New England Patriots. I
Oh,
got the Pats.
okay.
And I know, we say it all the time, but when you really look at it in the Super Bowl era, the Pats, nobody has won more than the Pats. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? I think they're tied with Steelers with 6, but I mean the Patriots just really have been the most dominant team in the NFL since the year 2000. You know
Yep.
what I mean? They've been to God, what, 10 championships? 10, I
Yep.
think,
Mm-hmm.
something
Yep.
like that. Or 9, I think it's 9. but they've been to so many, and really just since in the last 23 years, they were always in the mix when they had Tom Brady. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, Bill Belichick, probably the greatest football coach of all time. Definitely top five in the NFL for sure. So I got the Patriots, man, for my number three pick.
Okay, yeah, I can't knock that. That's a good pick. I was definitely they were definitely on my list. I'm literally over here rearranging my draft board now
Yeah,
because
yeah.
that's a good one. I'm not gonna lie. So my next pick at number 4 overall, my number 4 overall best ran sports franchise of all time. Of all time, as much as I can't stand them, give me the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas
hmm
Cowboys, now they have not been relevant like that in the last 25 years. I will admit that. No shame in my game, but you can't knock what they have done overall in their whole franchise history. They're America's team. They get on my nerves. Like I said, I cannot stand them, but I have to put them in this top spot. They've won several championships. There's no way I could leave them off without. I'm trying to win this thing. Don't get me wrong. I
Yeah,
can't stand the Cowboys, but I'm also trying to win. I think the Cowboys have to go on this list for the amount of rings they've won. They've won 5 championships. They've had 8 Super Bowl appearances. I mean, to me, I had to take them, and I'm taking them at number 4.
bet. I love it, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. I love it. My number four pick, I'm gonna go with the Golden State Warriors.
Oh,
I'm gonna
okay.
go
So
with the
you're going
Golden
new
State
age.
Warriors.
Talk
Yeah.
me through it. How did you
So
decide that?
so the Warriors were good at one point, right? They were good before Steph and them, but they've really been the staple franchise in the NBA since what 2015,
Yeah.
2014, something like that, the last decade,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
They've always been good. They've had great players in the past, but when you just see what they built and in the way that they built it, you know what I mean? They didn't throw a lot of money at anybody, right? They
Right.
built it. They grew it at home for the most part. They did trade or they did bring in Kevin Durant, but they grew it at home for the most part, and they're really the staple franchise in the NBA right now. Every team is looking at how can they replicate the success of the Golden State Warriors. When you think of dynasty, you think of the Golden State Warriors, especially of where they are really right now. You know, they're kind of coming out of the dynasty, but really where they are right now, you have to put the Golden State Warriors in among the best NBA franchises. And they are the third best NBA franchise of all time too. They do have the third most rings. So
Yeah. So that makes sense.
so yeah, so you have to put I think you have to put the Warriors there um for me. So they're my fourth pick.
Okay, that's I can't listen, man. I can't knock that one. I actually have to give that one a ton of respect because I didn't have them that high on my list. I did have them on my draft board. Don't get me wrong, but I didn't
Yeah.
have them that high on my list. But that's a good pick. I can't knock that. So at my number 5 pick overall, and this is going to be a little bit of a sleeper, I'm putting the San Francisco 49ers at number 5.
Mm,
The San Francisco 49ers have 5 championships and they only been to 6 Super Bowl appearances. And they
mm.
have 5 championships. So pretty much every time they got into the Super Bowl for the most part, they have won. I
One.
think I would put them at number 5 for me personally. I think they are always in the mix. They had a couple of years when like the Nick Bosa years and during that like 2015, 14 when they stunk. But besides that, they've always been a very good a very good franchise. So for me, as my final pick at number 5, give me the San Francisco 49ers. Lock it in.
Bet. I like it, man. I ain't gonna lie, they wasn't on my list though. I ain't had them,
Yep.
but I did have another NFL franchise on my list.
Okay.
Um, and so we're talking all time. So this is even goes before the Super Bowl. I got
Yeah.
the Green Bay Packers.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a
The
good one.
Green Bay Packers. So technically, the Green Bay Packers have the most NFL championships. They have 13, but 9 of them came before the Super Bowl era.
Yeah.
But since this is an all-time list, you know, I'm gonna still continue. I'm still gonna include them. The Packers, again, really, when you think about it, all the great quarterbacks that they have, you know, they really only had a handful of them. You know what I mean? Um, and going back, you got Favre, you got Rogers. I mean, just an all time great team. They're always a tough challenge in the
Mhm.
NFL. I mean, you want to talk about, you know, I don't know how many losing records they've had in the last 20 something years. I don't know. It ain't been many.
Right.
But the Packers have always been a solid team. They got the most NFL championships, and so I got them on my last pick.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good pick. So let me run back through the picks again. So for me, at number 1, I had the New York Yankees. At number 2, I went on ahead and took the Celtics. At number 3, I went ahead and took the Steelers. At number 4, I took the Cowboys. And then at number 5, I took the San Francisco 49ers. Then on your end, at number 1, you took the Lakers. At number 2, you went ahead and took Bama, which is a really good pick. At 3, you went ahead and took the Patriots. At 4, you took the Golden State Warriors. And at 5, you took Green Bay Packers. That's a pretty good draft on both ends. We're going to let y'all decide on TikTok, Twitter, like we did last week, Instagram, who won the draft. And you can leave it in the comments now. Who y'all think won that draft, man? That was a really good draft, bro. You did a really good job, and that was a really good one.
You too, man. You had a lot of the teams on my list, man. I tell you, a couple of teams that neither one of us said. I'm sure they was probably on your list too. Did you have the San Antonio Spurs on your list?
I did. Yep, they were on my list. Spurs were right on the outside looking in.
Yeah,
they were.
They was on my list. I had the Red Sox on my list. I went back to baseball.
Yeah, I had the Red Sox on my list too.
I had them on my list. And then the last 2 teams I had were the Ravens and the Bulls. They was also on my list.
Bulls were on my list as well, and Ravens.
Yeah. And
so
the Ravens,
we had a lot of the same teams on the list. People are already tuning in, Cam.
Yeah, I see it, bro. I see it.
I'll go with Tony. We're gonna put it out though, so more people can decide on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, definitely a good draft. Listen, man, this might have been my favorite podcast that we've done so far. It was really good. I think we're, getting more comfortable with doing this. We definitely gonna start getting some more guests on for sure. Coming short. We're just trying to kind of wait till it gets a little closer to football season so people can actually talk about stuff. But man, once again, another great pod, bro.
For sure.
If I haven't already, follow us. Please follow us on all platforms: TikTok, Spotify, Apple, Google. I mean, we're everywhere, literally, bro. Like, you just got to put in Cam and T, and we're gonna pop up, man. Literally, you can follow us anywhere. Like I said, you can follow us on the pod. We're on Google, Apple. We're on everything, man. So you can definitely follow us there as well. Follow us on our social medias, Twitter. You know what I'm saying? Link is in the bio. TikTok link is in the bio. Also as well, Twitch. Some of y'all are watching from Twitch, YouTube. A lot of y'all are replying from YouTube. Shout out to y'all.
Yeah.
Y'all crazy. Y'all were definitely interacting with us today. So we definitely love to see that. So continue to do that. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. And yeah, man, this was another really fun podcast, man. So I really appreciate you for, doing this with us, man. It was fun. I had a good time.
Yeah, as always, man. We getting better each and every week. It seems
and that's the goal, bro. That's the goal every week.
It.
You know what I'm saying? We want more people tuning in. Like, y'all were really active in the chat today. I think this was the most active the chat has been since we've done it.
Crazy throughout the whole time.
The whole time. So shout out to y'all, man. Y'all definitely did y'all thing in the chat. But yeah, man, it was a really good episode, man. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. Like I said, subscribe to all of our stuff, man. The link is in both me and Cam's bio. And then also as well, our page on Twitter and on TikTok. It's in the bio. You can literally follow us anywhere. You can email us if you have any business inquiries or whatever the case may be. But Cam, if you don't have anything else to say, man, we're going to go ahead and sign off on today's episode. We appreciate y'all.
Yep. Appreciate it, man. Y'all be easy out there.